He's a maniac on the show. And he's podcasting like he's never podcasted before. I'm trying to do the dance. Thanks for checking out the Steeler Wade show. This is my flash dance sweater given to me by an old lead at my jab. So, thank you for checking me out. If you would, press the like button because this is all gravy. Look, I've been thinking about something. I'm of the mindset that Mike Tomlin is not gonna want to play anybody on the offensive line right away. The way I feel. Maybe it's out of lack of respect for it, or he wants just more experience at professional level right off the bat. Maybe he wants them down the stretch. That's the way I believe it goes. But so I'm not seeing it happen, right? So when I'm looking at the guards. Now let's see. Do you remember last season? We ended up having like so many guards at one point. We ended up Isaac. We had obviously James Daniels. We signed Isaac. We signed Nate. We had Kevin Dodson. We had Green. Remember how many guards we have? Do you know how many guards we have now? Not so many. Not so many. We have, you can consider Spencer Anderson backing up James Daniels, and you can consider Joey Fisher, who I found out about last offseason when the Sick Podcast did an interview on him before he was signed. Hats off to Mike Castro. I love that. I think he's cool. But so that's it, because if we go into the draft with the center, we're either going to do we're going with Nate Herbig. Now, let's say we start this season off, we got a rookie, and second play of the game, Isaac tears his ACL. Second game of the day or whatever, somebody else gets, James Daniels could get injured. If we knocked out one of those guys, now we don't have Nate as that backup. We've got Spencer Anderson and a practice squatter. So I was wondering, I don't know if you know, but you should probably, that James Daniels' contract is up at the end of the season. I don't know why, but the offensive guard position has really boomed in value this season, right? If Kevin Dotson, I don't care how you feel about we mismanaged, whatever, that's not what I'm talking about. But if Kevin Dotson can get that contract, we are probably not going to be able to afford James Daniel next season. Just saying, So I'm starting to think about this. What happens? What could Omar Khan be thinking about as far as the future? So many of these tackles have very close measurables, as far as like their arm length, Steelers have their 33 inch, but there's a lot of guys out there that are close. There's a lot of guys, when you listen to these draft people, they will say that this guy is a tackle, but probably in an NFL scenario, he will end up turning into a guard. Since the Steelers probably, in my mind, will not be starting, say if they got a tackle, right? They probably would not be starting this tackle right away anyway. But could that tackle compete for that, we'll just say right tackle position if they move Broderick? Everybody wants to hear that he's getting moved, but if they move him over there, let him compete. If he can't quite do it, he might end up taking over the right side And then he might end up being the guy that they want to move in to replace James Daniel next season. I don't know. So I started thinking about maybe, again, with the Sick podcast, they had the guy from the Draft Bible. And one of the things that he said that really got me was that, like, if you're going into this draft, right? If you go in and you sign a tackle in the first round, you can still get a quality wide receiver in the second round. If you go into this draft and you get a wide receiver in the first round, you will not be getting a quality tackle in the second round. And it kind of makes a lot of sense. It kind of, because I've always been in the mindset of the stars in the first round, So what he said did kind of shock me, and it did make sense. But that intrigued my mind as far as thinking about maybe Omar Khan and the Steelers have a different mindset as far as their value. Value is one of the most amazing concepts on anything, in my own personal view, but their value of who they're going to be picking. Because, like, so many of us have talked about center. Okay, we always talk about center. So there's these other possibilities out there where there's guards out there. There's BB, I can't think of his name, Kansas State, right? Terrific guard, and McCormick, I think his name is. Terrific guard, but he could play center. So many of these different tackles, like Troy from Washington, doesn't have these measurables that, are ideal. The number one cat, Graham Barton, doesn't have those ideal. I mean, he's playing tackle in college, and we want him to play center. But his measurables, he could end up being a great guard. Not as tough as the tackle position, and you don't have to be quite as wise as the center position. In my opinion. Even if you go all the way to Talise Fuaga, even he is projected like he could just as well be a guard. And I love him at right tackle, but these are what experts are saying, and these are going by measurables of what has percentagely worked, in the professional league. So, now also, this is also kicking kind of what the guy from the Draft Bible was saying, because if the con artist has a different viewpoint on these values of these different, I've talked about the, high rated tackles. But now there's this whole other grouping of tackles out there that are maybe third round, second round picks. There are second round picks, that could compete for this right tackle position, along with Dan Moore, along with the cat on the practice squad they like so much. I can't believe I don't remember his name. But compete, do your deal, But and whoever wins. And if they can get another right tackle next season, who knows? And then just move this guy in. If James Daniels wants more than we want to pay, now we got a rookie contract. Here. Oh, and center. That's a cheap offense to run, So that's 25. I'm just kind of looking ahead, like picks. Like I'm going to give. This is why I wanted to put this podcast out, is because Alan Saunders from the Afternoon Drive had put something out like, hey, hit up Zachary Smith about, like, if you got any weird draft ideas, So I text something down, and, Zachary Smith's pretty righteous, and he has been cool, top notch, top shelf. And I was like, you know what, for sure, I want to make sure if I have this weird idea, you know what I mean? I got to just do a little podcast on it, unpopular as it may be. But I have been fortunate enough that he has him and Alan have answered some questions. What I'm going at is I don't like podcasts that just repeat. So I want to put this out there because I want to say what I'm feeling at the moment, just in case they might have to mention something in that dangle of the angle of the dot. You know what I mean? But this does give a different type of value to somebody like Roger Rosengarten. If you check my past podcast, I tried to do a real good job on that one, and he did really awesome, almost all the way to the end as a right tackle. So I don't know. There could be a future. It could be a future, even though, like with my boy that I keep loving on, Javon Foster. He's on the left side, but he doesn't have that many snap reps. Even, bring him to Steelers. But, who knows? One thing that I came across, please follow me on X. It's not that great, but I do try to put in links that I think are very intriguing. I just came across one. It's called OL Masterminds, okay? And these are training. It's hard to describe it, but it's these students, these athletes doing these tests, and they're doing these, not tests, but training deals, specific training deals to enhance the O-line. Graham Barton is there. There's a lot of players that go through this process with them. It's very cool. So I want to follow it because Graham Barton did this explanation, so I reposted it, and I thought it was intriguing. So I go to follow it, And I open up the page, and sure enough, of the people that I follow like a couple hundred people, or 300, I don't know how many people I follow. But one person that's on OL Masterminds, followed by Javon Foster. They stole my heart. But Steeler Nation, if you would, press like. And I just want to say thank you, and I bow to this community because you're just all rad. And again, shout out to Steelers Nation Australia, Mike Drop Sports, all the great ones, Pump Your Brakes, Shannon YG, you know what I mean? There are all these people out there. I love this. It's a wonderful, it's real rad. You know what I mean? Daniel and all, it's just, it goes and goes and goes. Tate, I just keep going. Nick, Herbig. All right, folks, AMF.